Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I don't even remember who I am anymore. I'm Brad Varnell. That's right. I'm Brad Varnell. This is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. That's what happens when you skip a week. You forget what in the heck you're doing. Good morning. I hope all of you are doing fantastic. Hanging in there, getting ready. We got Thanksgiving coming up this week, Christmas next month. And, we're trying to figure out what in the world is going on with crypto. Is it going high back up? Is it going to go down lower? Are we in for, is the rest of 25, 26, 27, and going into 28 going to be, are we back in a bear market? We got a lot of people that feel like we've already missed the pump, even though there was never a pump. Like altcoins had the most miserable last couple of years that I ever remember. Now, granted, I was around in 17 and 18, and I was around in 20 and 21, where both times those of us that were positioned in altcoins properly made life-changing money. And I mean, for the most part, unless you bought a whole bunch of Solana, when it was $7, $8, $9 and sold it when it was 250, or maybe if you were just loading up on XRP, at 25 to 50 cents and sold it when it was $3 or so a couple of months ago, or I think, a couple of months ago is being very, I can't even think of the word optimistic. I think it was more like way back in December of last year, January, maybe. I don't know. It's been a lot more than a couple of months when Ripple was all the way up, to new all-time highs. But I would say that most people probably round tripped it again. Like if you bought Solana at 10, you probably weren't selling it at 200 or 250 because everybody, including me, figured it was probably a $750 to $1,000 token during this bull market. For those of you out there that love XRP, there ain't nobody that's selling XRP at $2, $3 a token because everybody was believing it was a $15, $20 token. So I don't know if anybody has taken any kind of life-changing money out of the market in all of crypto, but especially, here on this channel, I don't know if you guys if crypto has significantly changed your life for the better over the last couple of years or not. I know that, man, if I'm being fully transparent, crypto did not change my life financially in the last, since November of 2021, when Bitcoin peaked at 68,000. And going into 2022, crypto's been a pretty big drain on me financially when it really comes down to it. Now, man, I'm all discombobulated. And so I don't know what to tell you guys other than don't give up hope. And there's, a couple of reasons for that. This is the Crypto Monday Mindset Mastery. This isn't all about, crypto and what's going to happen next. It's more about preparing ourselves to be ready for whatever happens. Come here, buddy. Come on. Come here. All right. It's more about preparing ourselves for whatever is going to happen next and being ready to get through it no matter what it is. But let's face it, all of us got on this rocket ship of crypto to hopefully change our financial lives for the better. And it is pretty hard to, it's hard to say that has been the case for a lot of us. Now, granted, I'm kind of being the, not really pessimistic, but I'm kind of the little bit of doom and gloom. Like I can understand why it's getting hard for some of you to, convince the Mr. or the Mrs. why you are still all in on crypto. It's kind of hard to tell your kids, hey, that trip to Disney World for Christmas ain't happening this year, but hopefully it will next year. And so, part of what we're all dealing with right now is the what ifs. and it can get pretty demoralizing, and it can be pretty hard to do what you need to do to stay involved in this crazy crypto market. But I will tell you guys, blockchain technology and cryptocurrency isn't going anywhere. It's definitely the wave of the future. It's going to become, a multi-trillion-dollar asset. And so let me share my screen with you guys a little bit. Let me pull this up. This was something else that I was looking at that really doesn't have anything to do with what I was going to say today. Although, I'll show you guys real quick because it's a little bit pertinent. One of the things about crypto that I have found out over the last decade is that although some things stay the same, a lot of things change. The bull market of 17 and 18 was way different than the bull market of 20 and 21, although both created life-changing money if you were positioned properly in a lot of the right coins. You had the opportunity to 25 or 50x your money in a bunch of different tokens. You could have bought in Chainlink during the bear market of 17 and 18, 19 for, $1.50 a token. It ran all the way up to $50 a token. You could have bought Polygon Matic for, I believe, as low as 3 cents. It went up to $3, which was 100x. I definitely had a whole bunch of altcoins that absolutely killed it for me, but it feels like it's definitely changing. The landscape is changing, and we have to figure out new strategies and new ways to create the wealth, that we want to create. But one of the things that I was looking at, I know you guys know that I love Texitcoin, and Texitcoin has saved me. And for those of you that jumped into Texitcoin and have been, rolling up your sleeves and helping other people get into Texitcoin, that's right there. That's a big mind shift change. I think there's a handful of you that have not jumped into the Texitcoin miners because you think that the affiliate program is all about going out and selling these miners to other people so that you can make money. And that's just not the case, guys. There's a lot of people that have been very, very blessed by Texitcoin over the last 3 months that I shared it with them, because they've been able to not only help other people, but they've been able to create an extra $1,000, $2,000, come on, dog. Extra, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a week in income. So when you jump into the Texitcoin miners, not only are you buying a asset that produces cash flow, that produces money every single day passively in your life, but you also actually get a side hustle. You get a business. You actually are basically buying a miner that comes with a business. Now, you don't have to do anything with the business, but man, I don't know why you wouldn't want to. Anyways, real fast, since I was on here anyways, I was just curious. If we go back, I jumped into Texitcoin on August 22nd. The price of Texitcoin was $2.89. So $2.89, this is Texitcoin's chart you can see here. So we go all the way back here to August 22nd, when I first started talking about Texitcoin. Texitcoin was $2.89. If we go to today's price, well, yesterday's price, it was $3.56. Not a huge increase. What is that, about a little less than $1? So maybe it's 25, 30%. But guys, I wanted to show you across the board real quick. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but pick out any coin you want. Let's go with, let's take a peek at Solana, and let's look at Solana over the last year, historical data. And then let's go back to August 22nd for Solana here. Why did that not work? Oh, that's only 1 month. We want to go 1 year. And I mean, guys, I'm not really trying to sell you on Texit Coin, but at the same time, for those of you that have been uh, hesitant to jump into Texit Coin miners, this is why I think you should take another look at it. You don't have to, but here we go. August 22nd, Solana was $200. Today, Solana is $130. So that is roughly, well, if it was 100, that'd be a 50% retracement. So it's probably more like about a 38 to 40% retracement. And guys, across the board, let's look at Ethereum. And I mean, you guys could throw out a token of your choice. I'm not cherry picking anything here. I'm just randomly, you tell me a token to go look at. But if we go look at the historical data on Ethereum and we go back to August 22nd, we ever going to get to August 22nd? Here we go. August 22nd, Ethereum was $4,800, guys. $4,800 on August 22nd, and now it's $2,800. It's lost $2,000. Another one that's lost 40%. Let's go a little bit further down the rabbit hole. What's another good one? Let's look at Polygon. Polygon, year ago. Let's see what it's saying. 1 year for Polygon. Let's go back to August 22nd. August 22nd, Polygon was 25 cents. Now it is 13 cents, almost a 50% reduction. So once again, Texit Coin was $2.89. And as of right now, today, Texit Coin is $3.59. So over the last 3 months, Texit Coin has probably been one of the best producing assets in the whole crypto market. And it's probably one of 4 or 5 that are worth more today than it was worth back on August 22nd. So, guys, that the Texit Coin plan, the white paper that stair steps it up to $16 in February, is an important part of this process. And you got to, you have to, at some point in time, consider at the very least going and buying some Texit Coin. But anyways, the point of today's video wasn't to talk about Texit Coin. It really wasn't. It has really saved my rear end. I've been able to make around $50,000. And I don't say that to impress you guys. I say that to tell you that it's possible for you too. I've helped a bunch of people make thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars over the last few months in Texit Coin. Let me see here. Let's get some garbage out of the way. We got somebody. Let's see what we got going on here real quick. Have you thought about taking Agape's liquidity and launching a new token on a new chain so we can put it to use? Tulsa King, no, not at this moment. The Agape token is definitely not dead, but there's been a combination of things that have kept it from really, getting revived. I really didn't understand when I launched Agape the work that it was going to take. So there's a lot of different things going on in the background. I'm looking at potentially hiring a CEO type of a person. But really what happened too, you got to remember with a coin like with Agape is I was, committed to not selling any of the tokens. So over the last, since it launched in May, we got June, July, August, September, October, November, now 6 months, I had to live too. And when Agape started getting crushed off and getting beaten down, and a bunch of people decided that they wanted to sell it, like I had to provide for my family and stuff too, and do a combination of things. It's been a very unfortunate situation, and I'm still trying to figure out the best way to make everybody whole and figure out exactly what is going to happen. But relaunching a new token wouldn't really accomplish anything. And, you know, there's just no money to do it either. Like, do you understand? Like, we've got $30,000 plus locked up in the liquidity pool for Agape. We locked that liquidity for 2 years. So if we were to launch another token, we would need another big chunk of money for liquidity. And I don't want to launch a token that's got $5,000 worth of liquidity and looks like the biggest heart attack chart you ever seen in your life, because every time somebody buys $100 worth or sells $100 worth, the price goes up and down like a yo-yo, because there's no liquidity. So what we're doing with Agape is we're regrouping. Other than some of the people that helped launch the token, nobody else really has, if you go look at the holders, nobody else really has that many tokens. Everybody, all of the top 20, 30 holders are people that, that helped launch the project, and I want to make them whole. But, in full transparency, Tulsa King, really the community didn't come together and really support the project the way that I had hoped. Very, very few people went out and bought $777 worth of tokens. The only people that ever had $777 and could nominate were mostly the people that helped launch the project, the people that helped put the liquidity pool together and helped launch the project. As far as people that literally stepped in off the streets and bought $777 worth of tokens, I don't want to say it was zero, but it was a number like maybe 4 or 5. Very, very few people from the actual community, those of you watching the YouTube channel and that just heard about the Infinite Agape token from other sources, ever really jumped in. And so anyways, I don't want to talk about Agape too much. It's a little bit of a sore spot in my heart. I haven't given up on it, but it's basically kind of a little bit dormant. We're rebuilding some funds and trying to figure out the best way to relaunch it. And once again, I'm kind of looking for somebody that I can hire that can do a lot of the day-to-day operations, because it's a lot more involved to run a project than I realized. Hey, it is what it is. It was my first project. The good news is most of you that are watching the YouTube channel, maybe you've bought $75, $100, $200 worth of the token, and it's down to 15 or 20 bucks. But I'm working on ways to make everybody whole. And the main people that I got to worry about are the people that help me with the liquidity pool and some of the things to get it off the ground. Most of you guys are, if you bought Agape, you're down on it, but not down life-changing amounts. And in full transparency, most of the community that got Agape token got it for free. I was doing a ton of giveaways that actually backfired on me a little bit too. Like, I assumed that if I gave you $25 worth of Agape, that most of you would go out and buy the other $50 worth of Agape tokens to get up to the 77 where you can vote. And once again, Tulsa King, I don't have time to go into all of the details, but I can show you, right on, right through the blockchain. If we go back to March, April, May, when I was giving away the Infinite Agape tokens, helping people to get to the 77, 99%, and maybe that's a slight exaggeration, but 95% isn't. 19 out of 20 people that got free Agape tokens sold them. Very, very few people, if any, took the $25 in free Agape and then bought their own $50 or $75 more to get them to the $77. So that that backfired on me in a way too, because instead of helping the chart and instead of helping the people buying more Agape token, it just, all they did was take the $25 or $50 in Agape that they got and sold it. So I don't know for sure what is going to happen with Agape token, but I'm going to figure it out at some point in time, and at least, do the best that I can to make everybody whole. And, we shall see. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, you got to go in some cases, guys, where the money is. And this is a lesson for all of you today. We're talking about crypto mindset mastery. Like, I didn't start the Infinite Agape token, as a I can't even, what's the word? Philanthropy. It wasn't a philanthropy type of a project. Yeah, it had the giving aspect to it, but I created the Infinite Agape token. It's a business. When you start a token, you're starting a business. And I started that business with the plan that it would explode, it would blow up, that it would grow a big community, that we would give thousands and thousands of dollars away to the community. But I also started that business, Tulsa King, with the plan that the tokens that I got set aside for the team, that my wife and I got, would turn into being worth multi millions of dollars over the course of a few years as we built up the project. And that didn't happen. And it looks like we are a long ways from that happening. And so, I pivoted. I found Texitcoin, which has put $50,000 fiat in my pocket over the last 3 months. And I have 38 miners now that are producing, $75, $80, $100 a day in passive income. And at the end of the day, the whole idea of crypto for all of us is to create financial freedom in our lives. That's as true for me as it is for you. Love you, son. Have a good day, buddy. That's as true for me as it is for you guys. So if it doesn't look like it's going to create financial freedom in our lives, then I don't want to be spending all of my time trying to just, force a square peg into a round hole. So with that, I mean, I love all of you guys. I appreciate all of you that supported the Agape token. Once again, it's not all the way dead, but it needs it's on life support. It needs some serious things to happen. And then now we're getting ready to not necessarily go into a bear market. I think we're going to have I still think that we're going to have some incredible times between now and the first quarter of next year. But at the same time, do we got enough runway to build a token like Infinite Agape up substantially to where it's a profitable token and people are engaging? People, that's the whole idea, Tulsa King, is we needed people buying the $777 in tokens and voting and nominating and doing all of that. And we really didn't get anywhere near the participation that I expected. We were getting 4 or 5 nominations and 15 or 20 votes. We should have been getting 20 or 30 nominations and a couple of hundred votes, coming in. And the project should have been gaining followers and getting bigger every single 2 weeks. And instead, it kind of, unfortunately, it went backwards. Anyways, I appreciate the question, and I don't have a good answer for you, my friend. Like, I know that we're not going to be launching a new token on a new chain, but what is going to happen with it is up in the air, and I don't really know for sure what the future looks like for Agape token. But I do know that I would like to have something positive happen to it, and at least get all of the investors' money back in their pockets to where it wasn't a loss for everybody involved. On that note, I'm going to quit talking about Texitcoin too. But, for those of you that are watching today and still haven't jumped into Texitcoin, we got a heck of a runway. We got the rest of November, which is about over, but we got December, January, February, potentially March. We got about a 3 or 4 month runway with Texitcoin to really make something special happen. I don't know if I mentioned, I think I mentioned it, but my goal is to be up to about 100 miners a day, or 100 miners by the time the miners sell out. There's 1 million miners. We've sold about 200,000 of them. Over the next 4 months or so, we're going to sell the other 800,000 miners will get sold. At that point in time, when there's no more miners left to be bought, I want to own at least 100 of them, which is going to produce for me a roughly, I would say, $160 to $200 a day. So we're talking $4,500 to $6,000 a month. And at that point in time, that gives me a lot of wiggle room. If I've got $4,000 to $6,000 a month coming in passive, then I'm in a position to take advantage of a lot of opportunities in the bear market. I mean, let's face it. One of the things that we have to look at, guys, is if we're not going to become financially independent in 2025, beginning of 2026, I still think that there's some potential for that. But we also have to start looking forward and saying, how are we going to ensure that we're financially free come 28, 29, 30? Like, if it's going to take another 4 or 5 years, what's going to be different in 4 or 5 years from now than this last bull market? And so I think part of that is figuring out what coins you really believe in, and then DCAing into them. You got Cardano here at 40 cents. Chainlink at $12.93 seems like a no-brainer to me. So I would be careful, because there still could definitely be some more downside. But man, if you bought Chainlink at $12.94 and it dropped down to $6 or $7 like it did in the middle of the last bear market, it would suck that you're down 50%. But when the markets improve, whenever that is, if it's between now and March of 2026, or if it's not until 29 or 30, you're still going to be real happy with an entry price of $12.94 on Chainlink, in my opinion. Avalanche is another one. Like, Avalanche has really gotten crushed off, guys. I mean, if we look at Avalanche over the last year, you can see this thing was all the way peaked up here. December of 2024 was a $54 token, man. It's down 75%. And Avalanche should be another token that I would be taking a serious look at dollar cost averaging into. We're going to talk about some of these tokens on the Trader Tuesday live stream tomorrow also. But man, what a time to be alive as far as being able to dollar cost average. Polkadot at $2.33. I would be buying Polkadot and staking it and earning a nice ROI on it. And then we got to get, it's been beaten down a little bit further, but Polygon at 13 cents. I mean, that to me is just an absolutely incredible steal on Polygon. How in the world? I would have never thought we were going to get a chance to buy Polygon at 13 cents. So once again, guys, the strategy right now, in my opinion, is to buy assets that you believe in for the long term at some of these, bare bottom base prices. I mean, look at this. VeChain is another one, all the way back to 1.35 cents. That's another token that I would love to be owning. And as far as I know, if you hold VeChain in the right wallet, like a VeChain wallet, it's still creating VThor. So how much is VTHO? VTHO, maybe some of you guys don't even know it, but if you hold VeChain in a decentralized VeChain wallet, it gets you VThor. So, I mean, VThor is only 0.0009, not worth a whole lot, but you're getting the VThor for free by owning the VeChain. And if we look at historical prices, the VThor has been as high as 4 cents back in 2018. 2018. So will it come back to that? I don't know. That's tough to say, because from where it's at, it's 97.9% lower than it ever was. But at some point in time, when I'm curious, I'm kind of curious here. When VeChain, let's take a quick peek at something. VeChain, if we go back to the historical data for the max and we go historical data, I don't know how long it's going to take me to get there. Let me see. I'm going to have to hit show me more a million times. Wait a second. What is this taking us back to? No, that didn't do it. We want to do, this only go back 1 year. Never mind. I wanted to see what VThor was when VeChain was at 29.30 cents. If we look at VeChain here, VeChain itself maxed out at about 28 cents in 2021. I was curious what VTHO was back then. But my point is like I would not necessarily be trading leverage. We're going to do a little Trader Tuesdays tomorrow for those of you that want to do some leverage, but I would probably be staying away from leverage for the most part. Not 100%, but if you really want to be safe and you just want to set yourself up, I would be buying some of these assets. Another one, I don't know why I keep skipping. I can't try to find Atom on here. I know it's down here somewhere in the 60s or 70s. I'm pretty sure. Should be here real close. Atom. Where are you at? There we go. Cosmos. Yeah, I mean, Cosmos at $2.50. And you can hold it on Coinbase or stake it through, the Kepler wallet. On the Osmosis network or the Atom network, you can stake it for almost 15%. I mean, if we look even just back 1 year, this thing was a $10 token back in December of 2024. Is it going to be a $10 token again? Absolutely. I don't know when, but that's a nice little 4x plus 15% in ROI. And you're getting the dividends, you're getting the 15% in Atom. So right now, if you went out and bought 100 Atom cost you $2,500, and you would get 15 Atom over the next year as interest. So 15 Atom, at $2.50 a piece isn't a whole lot of money, but if it goes back up to, $10, now you've got, is that right? Buy 100. Yeah, you get 15, but it's 100 of them is only $250. What am I thinking? 1,000 of them would be $2,500. So you can buy 1,000 Atom for $2,500, and then you're going to get 150 Atom in interest over the next year. 150 times $10 is $1,500. So actually, when this thing runs back up to $10, your 15% actually turns into more like 60%. You get 1,500 of your 2,500 back, and your 2,500 would turn into 2,500 times 4 is 10 grand. Plus the 1,500 in interest. So your 2,500 would turn into 11,500. Not life-changing money, but at the same time, a heck of a lot better than the stock market and most investments. So DCA into some of these projects right now is what I would be, looking at. And let me see here. Tim says, yeah, we have to be careful right now because people are saying things are looking strange with Michael Saylor's stock strategy and could push us down again. So I'll have to take a closer look at that. I'm not exactly sure what Michael Saylor's tax strategy is or his stock strategy is. I know that Michael Saylor is probably just can't wait to see Bitcoin down at $60,000, $70,000 so that he could buy a bunch more of it. And that's the other thing, if you want my opinion, I've always said it, I don't have a crystal ball, but folks, even Eric Bernstein and I, good morning, Eric, by the way, glad to have you here. Eric Bernstein and I were on a phone call a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that keeps coming to my mind when I'm looking at the current market is a couple of things. Number one is people like Michael Saylor, people like, BlackRock, a lot of companies that have taken crypto on to their balance sheets. You got Grant Cardone just bought, I forget, it was 185 Bitcoin at 82.5. There's a little over $15 million worth of Bitcoin. There's a lot of big players in the space that are buying, and they have shareholders. They have people that they have to answer to, and it's pretty hard to tell a shareholder, hey, Bitcoin dropped down to 40, 50 grand, and I know that the stock price has plummeted, but don't worry about it. In 4 or 5 years, when Bitcoin halves again, and we have the next bull market, you guys are going to be real happy, because people in the stock market don't want to see their stock get crushed off by 40, 50, 75%. And these companies that are going hard at crypto, in my opinion, they're going to, it would hurt very, very badly if their stock price drops by 50, 60, 75%. That's going to create a huge tidal wave of sellers and of bad things happening for those companies. So I don't believe that the elite, that the BlackRocks of the world can afford to let crypto just totally go into a full-blown bear market, Bitcoin back to 40, 50 grand, and all of the altcoins smashed all the way down to oblivion. I don't see that happening. The other thing the other reason that I believe we're in for some good times is I do think we are going to get some more rate cuts. The other reason that I believe we're in for some good times is because the government, the United States government, loves to print money, and they're printing our money into oblivion. Inflation is not really getting better. They might be making up some numbers that make it appear to be getting better, but inflation is not getting better. And good money, hard assets like gold, silver, Bitcoin, real estate, you want to be holding your money in those things, not just in fiat. Like, if any of you have savings accounts where you just got money sitting there that's not earning any type of significant interest, I would say that's very, very risky. You say, well, putting it into DeFi is very, very risky, and that's true too. But just letting it sit in a bank account is pretty darn risky. Like, you're guaranteed to be losing 3%, 5%, 10% of your buying value by just having cash. I would at the very least buy USDC and hold it in Coinbase and get 4 or 5% a year on my fiat money if I had money that was in fiat. But even better is, don't make it to where you can't live. You got to have the money to pay your bills. But I'm holding most of my net worth still is in assets. It's not in fiat. My wife and I were just talking about that the other day. It's a little risky, and we did decide to save up, a bank account. Everybody's always talking about how you should have 3 months, 6 months worth of bills, money, set up. And we're on board with that. Like I say, it's probably going to be USDC, but we're trying to build up, a little bit of a nest egg, have 3 months, 6 months worth of bills that's in USDC, that's earning 4 or 5% interest. So it's not getting smashed by inflation as much as it would be if we just had a bank account with, $25,000 or something in it. But right now is the time to get your money into some assets, in my opinion. These ones that I just went over are some of my favorite. But there's lots of other ones that are good out there. XRP, another one that I wouldn't blame anybody for buying. I think is going to do well. BNB is down, a ton recently. This was all the way up to about $1,300. Like, you can see most things over the last 3 months have gotten smashed down by around 40%. Seems to be the pretty common number, right in about that 40% range. So what, like, if some of you guys might like Caspa, you might like Stellar, you might like Monero, Hedera H-bar is another one. This is another one that I would be very interested in picking some, Hedera up. If you look at Hedera, I think it was all the way up at around 50. Yeah, if we go back here to January of 2025, it was 32 cents. And I think its all-time high was 50 cents. Yeah, it's 56 cents during the last bull market. So Hedera is another one. Any of these tokens, for the most part, you pick. Like anything in this top 50 to 100 within reason is probably not a bad bet. I would go with more of the ones that have been around for a little while, though. Like Polkadot, Atom, Polygon, Avalanche, Solana, everything that we've touched on has been around for a long time. Some of this new stuff, I don't like meme core here. What the heck is meme core at 46 cents? I don't know. I don't know that I would want to put my money into something like meme core, because is it going to be around in 2030? I don't know. I'm pretty sure we don't got to worry about whether Polygon and Avalanche and Chainlink and Solana are going to be around in 2030. So that would be my main requirement, is that I'm putting money into something that I believe has a very high likelihood to be around in another 5 years. The same thing like number 47 here, Canton, never heard of it. BitSensor, I've heard of it a little bit, not an expert on it, but there's a lot of, like I probably wouldn't be buying BitGet token. I don't know, although, BitGet is an exchange. It's not a very well-known exchange, but maybe that would be a good buy. I don't know. You'd have to do your own research on that. But I'm telling you that most of the coins in the top 50 or so are probably not bad places to put a little bit of your hard-earned money. With that, let's get back over here to a full screen. We've been going almost an hour. I'm going to get you out of here. But I wanted to give those of you that have been following this IVF journey of my wife and I's for a while now, a little bit of an update. So part of the reason that we didn't do any live streams last week is last week was the real big week for the doctor's appointments and for everything that's going on. And so when you do IVF, which is a fertility treatment, for those of you that might be new to the channel or don't know what's going on, my wife and I are trying to have a baby. I'm 52, she's 38. It makes it a little bit harder to do it just 100% through natural means. And so we're doing a fertility treatment. And there's kind of two ways that they do these things. You can either do what's called a fresh transplant, where they take her stuff and my stuff and put it together and then put it right into her body right at the time. The other one is called a frozen transplant. And in our case, because of different medical things, it wouldn't have worked most likely had we did a fresh transplant. So we're only about halfway through the cycle, but I'm super excited to tell you guys that the first half of the process was amazing. We've got what looks like some really good embryos that are frozen. And hopefully we will be going back to Colorado in about a month. So where we thought we were probably going to be able to announce to the world if we were pregnant or not by Christmas, it looks like we're probably not going to go back to Colorado until the beginning of January. But hopefully, if the second half of this process goes as good as the first half, we'll be announcing that we're pregnant, hopefully by around the middle of January. And what do we got? January, so February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Hopefully, we'll be having a baby in about October of next year is the plan. But that all went well. And, that's another thing. I know you guys are sick of me talking about Texitcoin, but one of the things that I love about Texitcoin, guys, is I can do it from anywhere. So for the average person, if they would have needed to go to Colorado for 3 weeks, like I did, they would have had to have either used up 3 weeks of vacation time, or they probably wouldn't have gotten paid. They would have had to just bite the bullet, and part of the expense that they would have had to have sucked up in order to do this is they would have had to have, just paid for it out of their pocket. They'd have had to pay all their bills and all of the travel expenses, and they would have had to have done it with no money for 3 weeks, or they would have had to use up 3 weeks worth of vacation, which for most people is most of the vacation that they get for the year. I was able to go to Colorado for 3 full weeks. We left on a Wednesday. We didn't get back for 3 weeks. We left on a Wednesday, and 3 Wednesdays later, we got home. So it was actually a total, if you count each Wednesday, we were gone for a total of 22 days. During those 22 days, I had my laptop hooked up, and I made, $7,000, $8,000, and $7,000. So I made $22,000 in those 3 weeks that I was gone through my Texit Coin miner business. And that doesn't even include all of the tokens that came in, the passive part of it. That was just through the referral program. And then we got home on Wednesday of last week. So it was a pretty busy week. We had doctor's appointments on Monday. We drove on Tuesday, and Wednesday didn't get home until Wednesday night. So I took about half of the week off, and I made another $7,000 last week. So I've got another $7,000 in USDC getting ready to hit my wallets on Wednesday of this week because of the work last week. So if you take that, that's $7,000, $8,000, $7,000, $7,000. That's $29,000 in the last 28 days that Texit Coin has paid me for my Texit Coin business. Plus, I've got 38 miners now producing passive income. And my point is every single one of you can do what I've done. A lot of people say, well, hey, Brad, you're just a natural at this, and you've got the network and blah, blah, blah. But it's all a bunch of excuses. It's all a story that you're telling yourself. If you don't think that you could find people that want to own a business, a side hustle of their own that can make them $1,000, $3,000, up to $9,000 a week, and you don't think you can find people that would be excited to own a miner that's going to produce tokens for them for the next 130 years, that's just a story that you're telling yourself, and it's not true. So this Texit Coin is another way to really transform your life financially. And so for those of you that have already jumped in, I would highly recommend you really take the opportunity very seriously. There's a lot of people that jump in and just buy a miner or two and that don't really work the affiliate program the way that they could in order to make themselves thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a week. But once again, the reason that I love Texit Coin, and it doesn't have to be Texit Coin, there's a million different businesses out there that you can start and do part-time from your home that would give you the ability to take control of your life. But like I said, the main thing, I'm not here to talk you into getting into Texit Coin. What I'm here to do is I want you to create a life where if you needed to go travel for 3 weeks or a month for a medical situation, maybe it's not IVF, maybe your mom or your dad gets sick and you need to, and they live wherever, like I live in Arizona, maybe, they live in Florida or wherever. You've got parents that don't live in the same state as you and they need you. What would you do? How would you, if something happened where you wanted to go spend a month or two with your parents to get them through a tough situation, how would that be financially for you? Would that devastate you financially? If it would, you got to look for different ways. This channel is all about creating financial freedom and not needing and depending on the 9 to 5. And it's not all about just being able to go travel and have fun and do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. The point of financial freedom is stuff like this last 3 weeks where I could leave. I didn't have to ask anybody if I could leave. I just left. And guess what? I made more money in those 3 weeks on the road than most people make, 20, what did I just say? 22 grand. That's a lot of people's 3 or 4 or 5 months worth of money. And I made it in 3 weeks, and I was on the road, and we had the time of our life too. Like, we experienced a bunch of cool restaurants. If you're ever in Colorado Springs, I definitely recommend you go to a place called the Rabbit Hole. Pretty cool place. We experienced Saltgrass Steaks is another amazing restaurant. Like, we were at doctor's appointments, but we were having a lot of fun, enjoying ourselves. We went to Garden of the Gods and took a hike. We had the time of our life for those 3 weeks, got to spend some incredible quality time with my wife. And I was able to do it without worrying about how the bills were going to get paid. I was able to make the money that I wanted to make from a laptop in a hotel room. That's what I'm talking about. And once again, it's, something in your life is going to come up at some point in time. For those of you that are watching this, that are in my age range, you're in your 40s or you're in your 50s, parents inevitably are going to have some tougher times as they get older, health-wise. Parents are going to, siblings are going to have health issues. A lot of different people in your life are going to have a lot of different challenges. And once again, I want you guys to be in a position where if something came up and you needed to be able to travel for a month or two, like I could have stayed in Colorado forever if I wanted to. Like, literally, we didn't have to, like, if I just said, hey, we're just going to stay in Colorado till this process is all the way done. We're just going to stay there the rest of November, all of December, and half of January. No worries. I could have left for an indefinite amount of time and still kept my business running, the money coming in, and had the freedom to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And that's why I'm so excited about Texit Coin or other opportunities like Texit Coin. Once again, you don't have to jump into Texit Coin, but find something where you're not dependent upon your 9 to 5. And if you needed to leave for 3 weeks, 2 months, 3 months for something important, that you could, and it wouldn't financially devastate you. You wouldn't have to spend your whole 401k. You wouldn't have to go into a bunch of debt. And so on and so forth. And so for me, Texit Coin has been an amazing answer. And if any of you have been sitting on the fence and deciding, wondering if you should jump into it and you wanna, I'm a DM away. But if you're not going to jump into Texit Coin, I would definitely recommend that you find something to jump into that's going to create some income for you, so that whether it takes the next 3 to 6 months in crypto to really build up a substantial financial freedom number, or if we got to wait 5 more years for it to really, crypto to transform your life, that you've got some freedom and some choices and the ability to, take care of your loved ones and live the life that you want to live for the next few years. Hey, John, good to see you again. Man, you're a lot of fun. You're amazing. Brad don't have any money for the giveaway. What giveaway? We quit doing giveaways a long time ago. They don't work. Just in this, and you're in the exact reason why we don't do giveaways anymore, John. You are exactly why we don't do giveaways. So give yourself a pat on the back, because if people like you that did get the giveaways didn't just sell the tokens immediately and actually supported the projects and did the things that the people that were getting the giveaways were supposed to do, you'd probably be getting more giveaways. But on that note, guys, I love you all, man. We're all on this journey together. My wife says I love listening to him trying to explain it all. Yeah, thanks for supporting the channel, babe. Thanks for being here. Yeah, he's just here for the money. Anyways, we're all just going through this life. None of us has all the answers. We're all gonna have some good times, some bad times. We're gonna make good decisions. We're gonna make bad decisions. I could find out in 3 months or 6 months or a year that Texit Coin, wasn't a good decision. The trouble is, at this point, it was even if something happens in 6 months and it explodes or implodes or whatever, gets wiped off the face of the planet, it will have still been life-changing for me. It would have saved me and created 3 or 6 months or 9 months worth of amazing times. So for me, nothing could happen to Texitcoin that would make me wish that I hadn't jumped in August like I did. But time will tell. I think that it's got a lot of longevity in it. I think that I'm still going to be getting these tokens in 5, 10, 20, 30 years. I think that these miners are going to get passed down to my children because they're going to be mining for the next 135 years. So my belief and my opinion is that my kids and my grandkids and probably my great grandkids, if this earth is still around, are going to be getting Texitcoin in 20, 30, 40 years. There's still going to be some Texitcoin getting mined and given out to the people that I love. So with that, folks, go find your Texitcoin. If Texitcoin ain't for you, go find something that is. And in the meantime, keep buying crypto, keep dollar cost averaging, stay strong in your beliefs. The one thing that I do know, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do know that crypto's here to stay. We're not going to snap our fingers in 5 or 10 years, cryptocurrency is gone. It's not a fad. It's not a flash in the pan. Blockchain technology is here to stay. It's going to revolutionize dozens and dozens and dozens of industries. There's, real world assets and AI are here to stay. And so stay strong in your beliefs. Don't let them shake you all the way out of crypto. Too many people are losing hope and just saying, hey, man, I knew crypto was fake. I knew crypto was a farce. I knew it was a scam. They finally sucked me into it. And then sure enough, as soon as I bought some crypto, everything dropped by 50%. And now they're gone and they're bitter. But I'm telling you, don't become one of those people. If you stay strong, it's just a matter of time. That much I know. My crystal ball tells me it's just a matter of time. I've said this a lot of times, and I believe it with all of my heart. The only way to not get wealthy in crypto, if you stay in it long enough, is if, like we have some kind of a worldwide catastrophe, World War III, or if Jesus comes back and we all go, and we all get taken up to heaven. Those, in my opinion, are the only two ways that we potentially don't get wealthy in crypto, as long as we're willing to stay the course and keep buying and keep believing in the right thing. So with that, guys, stay strong. We'll see you tomorrow. You're welcome, Dave. Thanks for being here again, Dave. I love you, brother. Vanish, thank you for being here. Appreciate you very much. Nayan Jonah, thank you for being here. Eric, Mr. Bernstein, thank you for being here. And anybody else that I might have missed, God bless you guys. I appreciate you being here today. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. God bless you all. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye for now.